Alright, so in a Hollywood Netflix type series, two more legal guns are found at Stadium East. And there's a follow-up for the stories recently where police, due to obvious tips from some sources within the criminal underworld, I'm willing to bet my life on that's the case. Yeah, they found some more guns. Now, where stash these guns there either, I don't know if they have links in that stadium or whatever, or they probably some people who work at the stadium were the ones who did this. I do not know. There's again more questions than answers. So, security expert Robert Fitzgerald Smith has commended the police following the recovery of two more illegal firearms at Stadium East yesterday. The police reported that an AK-47 rifle and a Remington shotgun were found yesterday, which brings to 10 the number of weapons seized since Sunday when the operation began. Earlier this month, Prime Minister Andrew Holmes said 85% of all homicides in Jamaica are committed using an illegal firearm. May doesn't mention the fact that corruption plays a part because in order for these illegal firearms to get around the country, you have to have some people with connections in certain places that allow this to happen. But I digress. Right. He also said his ministry is dealing with the problems of illegal guns. And again, not saying, hey, what we're going to do to find out who is responsible for these illegal guns and who they're connected to. Mr. Smith argues that the magnitude of impact the illegal guns have had on Jamaica's murder rate must not be underestimated. And has just gone on to say something we already know. Alright. Okay, and there's some quotes which really doesn't really add anything useful to the story. Alright. And so head of the JCF Corporate Communications Unit Senior Superintendent Stephanie Lindsay confirmed the start that two guns were found but unable to comment extensively. This matter is still developing. Basically, we're not naming names as to who exactly is responsible for these illegal guns, how they got there in the first place, and how deep it is. Because, again, I always say that when you have stuff like these weapons being smuggled into the country, it takes connections for them to get into the country through any means, because what's not being noticed is no arrests have been made. Who is actually responsible for these guns, who they're connected to, because you'll be surprised to know that a lot of people from various walks of life in Jamaica know about this and are aiding and abetting it. But we're not really naming any names, because Lindsay should have said better, and even Graham would have Smith would have said better to say, hey, we are going to find the people who are responsible for this, and we are going to be making some arrests soon. Maybe I know they're going to say this is going, but there had to be an emphasis on saying that we are going to find out who got put these guns there, how deep these smuggling operations run, and we're going to be turning over every stone. No stone will be left unturned as to find out who's actually responsible for these guns. That's what we need to hear. And again, we're not beating up on the people who these fine and responsible officers who are doing their jobs. But we've heard the song and dance before, and we need to hear more about how many who is going to be criminally charged and how deep these connections runs. Because believe me, a lot of this is not the only time we've had illegal guns in this country. This has been going on for decades. Problem is, we're not really seeing who's going to be exposed and charged. That's what we need to be hearing more of. And that's all I have to say. This for Stay to Jamaica and the Caribbean. Check out my YouTube page, Miles Goods and Fern. Miles Productions, Real Thoughts and Miles. End of this recording.